miss friends, family, brothers, sisters, cousins, checking back in, giving a little update with what's going on, where I'm at, what I'm up to. I'm in Thailand right now, Chiang Mai. Actually in a little bathroom here in the hostel. It's the only place I can find my own space, really, so that I can transmit here. Biggest thing, a lot changing and shifting in the world. The pressure has pushed me in a way, kind of funneled me to where I am to discover and learn what I am observing, what's in front of me, what's on the path forward to prepare for.
It is not enough to merely have an American presence in space. We must have American dominance in space. Very importantly, I'm hereby directing to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the 6th branch of the armed forces. That's a big statement. In a few moments, I will sign a new directive to implement a state-of-the-art framework for space traffic management.
A lot of misinformation is getting cleared up that has been ingested in myself. The confusion is dissolving away.
Our Earth is divided into 4 concentric physical rings of land, 4 realms, 4 domains. And each of these is obviously covered by its own electromagnetic torus field. The lands at the center are what we call Eden at the moment. We've got the Aurora Borealis from our perspective. We've got the Aurora Australis, which is on the outside, on the south polar rim. The lands beyond our south pole have got their own electromagnetic field, and so does this last one. And of course, each of these realms has got its own solar system, an ecosystem. So the center, Mercury, or the black sun, is the sun and moon of the central realm, what we call Eden at the moment. That's beyond the Aurora Borealis. In our realm, our solar system and ecosystems are governed by our sun and moon, Apollo and Artemis. The realm outside us, their solar and ecosystem is governed by their sun and moon, which is Mars and Venus. Mars is the sun, and Venus is the moon of this outer land. And the lost lands are governed by their sun and moon, Saturn and Jupiter.
I'm able to see more. I'm sure a lot of those who are hearing this, same type of anomalies are occurring with them in their space.
Returning American astronauts to the moon for the first time since 1972. This time, we will not only plant our flag and leave our footprint, we will establish a foundation for an eventual mission to Mars, and perhaps someday to many worlds beyond.
The first big red pill you're gonna have to swallow is that beyond all these dimensional fields of energy from where we are now, in our northern and southern extremities, are other extraterrestrial lands inhabited by other extraterrestrial civilizations. This is what we might call extraterrestrial outer and inner space, extraterrestrial outer and inner Earth. I know, it sounds crazy, just bear with me. Each of these 4-dimensional rings of Earth have their own eco, lunar, solar systems and seasons, and their own sun and moons, which would be our current 7 wandering stars. Saturn and Jupiter being the solar sun and lunar moon of the outermost ring, domain or realm of Earth. Mars and Venus being the solar sun and lunar moon of the next concentric domain of Earth inside that. This Mars and Venus domain would be the main realm beyond our southern Antarctic boundary and the Aurora Australis electromagnetic field. Then, of course, we have our own solar sun, Apollo, and lunar moon, Artemis, in this domain. And last but not least, Mercury within the inner central realm beyond our northern Arctic boundary and Aurora Borealis electromagnetic field. This inner star, Mercury, is androgynous, both a solar sun and lunar moon in one. It's sometimes referred to as the inner Earth sun or black sun or planet Nibiru or planet X. Now, the full expanse of our entire earthly plane with all the different realms would be what the ancient Greeks referred to as Mother Gaia, the Kemetic Egyptians called the Benben or Mother Geb, and the Indo-Vedics referred to as the Bhumandala.
Eden, the Garden of Eden, is opening. the time to bridge the gap as to what that truly entails. But I just made a few posts last night, giving some kind of closure for those who are ready to receive that formation of what's occurring energetically and metaphysically, the grand stage we are all a part of. A lot of people, they're operating, conducting themselves based upon scripts that have been set in stone, and they just follow suit. And where I truly am and what I can offer those who are already writing their own script, animating themselves based upon that self-written script, or those who are on the very verge of tapping into that realm, that frequency. This is going to be crucial to really detox, cleanse your mind, your body, spirit. It's always been necessary.
The reality is that we all now have to work on the cleansing, because that's where we're being really hit the most with the toxins. What you're really dealing with more than anything is being able to actually go through the necessary steps that are in your life to actually get the results. And that if you look back on your entire life, you'll say, man, well, I never did this. And I definitely never did it like this. So for those that are at the point of saying, well, where do I properly begin on this journey? Generally, you want to clean yourself up. You want to cleanse, so that way everything that you experience after this, you experience clear, with a clear body, and you don't have something else that's inside of you making the decisions. So see that this area here is a major part of how consciousness is being attacked. When you want to experience something spiritually and you know that your mind and your spirit are ready for that, you have to be willing to tell your body to, okay, I can't go in on the cheese right now. I can't go in on the milk right now. I can't, go in on the hamburger right now. So even the hindrance of getting the truth out and allowing people to speak the truth is bottling them up within. And so, of course, when the body begins to bottle up, it builds up all of these toxins. What you have really with the vehicle, the mind, body, and soul, when in the individual that hasn't began to awake, is that the system is basically, it's begin to attack the individual. Like if you have a body and it's full of nothing but bacteria, and these bacteria are manipulating, the word I'm looking for, multiplying, then if you can't stop that, then your body actually is becoming a host.
So everything that's inside of you, the different entities and creatures and all these tones and vibrations and organs and complex things are all living with you. So this is why we're working on a new level of expansion, which equals us raising our vibratory frequency to remove certain elements. They pass through you. That's what the cleanse is about. The cleanse gives the parasites the opportunity to move through the feces and just leave. Because the herbs, just as like ayahuasca, raise the vibratory frequency of the body. That's why you eat the spirulina, you eat the blue-green algae, you eat all of this. It raises the vibrational frequency of the body, and then the lower frequency entities just leave. Some of these energies, worms, they eat dead food. So every time you get this craving for dead food, guess what? That's not necessarily you, but it is you. It's another part of you that is grown with you, your baby, per se, and it now is saying, I want to survive. I need some more dead food. But what's happening is that when we eat this kind of food, the Cheetos and all these artificial flavors and colors, and believe me, it's almost in everything unless you actually inspect the food and make sure you're getting pure organics, et cetera, because there is an agenda to keep this kind of energy in your system. What happens is that when you eat it, when you consume it, it goes into your body and something's got to digest it. And because you're not calibrated to digest it, you're a mammal, you can't eat these artificial crazy foods. There are now worms and bacteria that live in, like you'll see, there's even worms that grow in minerals and metals. You see what I mean? So you have these different life forms now living inside of you, suggesting what you should do. And it's already been mapped out. There's a fish worm, there's a pork worm, there's a beef worm, there's a chicken worm. And all of these worms get inside of the body and grow something to the tune of some of them even a foot every year. So some people have these huge worms inside of them that have attached themselves to the person's system. So what happens is that inside of the body, you may have developed a symbiotic relationship with a parasite. And then when you look inside the external reality, the same thing is going on, because external reality is only a projection of what's going on in the inside. And that's the key. See, now you should get the motivation that is necessary to begin the cleanse, however it may come about for you, mentally, spiritually, and physically, that kind of cleanse, because you get to the full realization, at least if you can conceive what I'm explaining to you today, of why everything in your direct world may be haywire or out of control for you. I'm telling you today that there is a real system of knowledge that allows you to get in full control of who you are. And there is no overseer or government or these kind of individuals that can impede your progress. But that system in itself, which we talked about, self-substantiation, in the condition in which you've been put in, may seem a little difficult at first, because there are a lot of vibratory frequencies. They're not just the worms. There are other energies that you can't even see, all encouraging you to act and behave and do certain things. And this is where you have to gain control. Now, remember, this is not for me to, I'm not telling you there's ghosts and phantoms and all this stuff around you and they want to kill you and they want you to die. All they want to do is live. If they can do it off your energy, then they're like thumbs up. Okay? What I'm telling you is that they now need to be given an ultimatum. Either they rise into the higher frequencies that you're going to, because you're the control, you're the soul, you're the sun, you're the energy. So where you decide to move, then everyone else has to go, or else they have to go. You see how that works? So you rise in the vibratory frequency. If you guys don't want to die, you tell your bodies, look, if you guys don't want to die, you can take the next shuttle out of here, train going out. You see what I mean? So everything can be done on a universal, symbiotic, harmonic level when you're in control of you.
You need to rebuild that crystalline structure in your body, and you need to do that rapidly. So the first and foremost, that's all we're going to talk about. We're going to build it from the ground up. We're going to start with the skeletal system, and then we're going to work up into these ligaments. So that way, when you start really running this gauntlet like I'm doing, you don't get injured. Likewise, for guys that are already on their own thing and doing amazing stuff with their body, they get the recap because they probably know about a lot of this. But in addition, they also get a chance to learn some additional techniques. And remember that it's always important for us to pace ourselves, and then it's also important for us to really push ourselves, but at that proper medium. You don't have to do this. You could choose to do it, choose to think about it, not do it at all. It's all on you. If you are looking at this video right now, you're spending your time, and I think it's time well invested, because there's a lot of stuff that people spend their time on daily that they could get a better value for their time. So this is just about the basics. So when you decide you want a manual for your own body, then you would turn this on again and say, okay, maybe I'll go grab those salts. Due to facts. One, huge magnesium deficiency going on in the world, period. Like, we're in Costa Rica, so we at least get stuff coming from the ground. Most people, do you think these people are spending as much money as they can to provide the food to you? Even if it's quote unquote organic and all the sub-labels of organic? No, they're going to try to spend as cheap. Like, you should see what they pay these farmers, etc. They're going to spend as least amount as possible. Just if they're going to spend money, it's going to be on the licensing and the regulations. That's where their money is going to go. And they're going to try to get this stuff as cheap as possible. Then when it comes to you, the seeds, how long are these seeds? Are they heirloom? No. How long have these seeds actually even been mature? What is the parents of these seeds? Like, there's going to be so many things to consider about whether this plant can actually produce a mineral subset that will be sufficient for a person's body. That's just somebody who's considering eating the plants. When it comes to rebuilding this and regenerating this, magnesium has always been an ally, but people take magnesium. And we've had videos about this, about you can't take magnesium inside and then expect it not to come right out again. That's what it does. It doesn't absorb. You're on the wrong side. So you need it to go into the cellular system, and the only way you can do that is to soak in it. Now, I just recently found out, even myself personally, because some of the recommendations are to use a cup, and because this was originally designed for athletes, like high-end athletes that are really, they got to repair by the next day. I found that I could use this cap worth, which actually gives me quite a few. A cap worth in the bathtub after a real day, man, this is, you thank me later. We'll just say it like that. When you grind back down, when the muscles that are built up around the ligaments that are new, that are built up around and trying to grow, when you recede from your workout or your ability to actually increase their growth, they start to recede, and then you start feeling that pain again if you did do any recovery at all or complete recovery. So what happens is when it's broken down again, like some people are at that point right now, it is best to go through these processes I'm going to be talking about in relation to getting that warmed up. See, I got to be careful even what I say. Getting it warmed up and getting it put together properly and getting it infused properly, so that way when you start building over it again, you don't have any issues. And this is why we're going to ride the ladder all the way up. We're not even talking about water yet.
What I've received from the closure that has come to me, these solstices where there's a lot happening beyond our awareness. There's going to be, around this time, 2 years from now basically, a massive galactic alignment where all the wandering stars, all the planets as we have been instructed to know them as in our indoctrinating school systems, they're all going to be in a straight line.
On the 21st of December 2020, during the winter solstice, there's going to be a great cosmic solar event that will be seen and experienced by every single conscious being in our universe. This is what is commonly being described as the event. Why December 21st, 2020? There's natural scientific significance of this date with relation to our solar system. All the luminaries have their own paths. Oscillations, secondary, third, and fourth oscillations, and eventually they all line up again. And eventually, they complete an even bigger cycle, fully lining up. And this only happens once every 6,000 years. So on December 21st, 2020, Mercury at the center, our Sun in this domain, Mars in the next domain, and Saturn in the last domain, and all the moons on the other side will all stop and align in the same direction on the same path and gradient at the same time for the first time in 6,000 years. This is what we hypothesize is the long-awaited return of the Sun/Sun, or Christ, the galactic alignment, return of Nibiru, or Planet X, or consciousness, the great solar event. This cosmic solar alignment will take 3 days to fully align, starting on the 21st of December and ending on the 25th of December. The electromagnetic torus fields in all 4 realms will either disappear or open up or weaken due to this galactic solar alignment. This is the opening of the portals or windows of the heavens spoken of in the Bible. This opening should occur for 7 days, from the 25th to the 31st of December 2020. That also means everyone on Earth will all be able to see all the different wandering solar systems of all the domains clearly in our skies. Everyone will have 20/20 vision. And if you think about it logically, if all the luminaries are at their lowest points, that would make everything above us easy to see, bright and crystal clear. On a side note, isn't it interesting that we've all been conditioned to be the most busy during the specific time of year every year, and blinded to the Earth's true oscillations, signs, and beauty? Yeah, we celebrate. However, the ways we do it and the reasons we do it are perverted. Even with how many trees we cut down every year to carry out a ritual, which could actually be a geocentric ritual to begin with. The tree of life, the Christmas tree. This period of time is what the ancient cultures were describing when they said there was a time when the sky fell. Many ancient cultures also describe a time where there were many suns and many moons in our sky, and we believe history is about to repeat itself again. This phenomenon will affect and change our atmospheric conditions as well. These events periodically happen over cyclical time in various scales. The last big one occurred in 1859 and was called the Carrington event. Feel free to look it up. The one coming in 2020 is going to be much, much bigger. This solar alignment is meant to realign cosmic energy and consciousness within the various earthly domains and realms of our Earth. This energy blast will begin at the center of the Earth, or the North Pole. It will spiral outwards towards the edge and bounce back towards the center over a very short period of time. The event itself will be triggered by an electromagnetic sonic boom that will look like what we know as a nuclear atomic bomb. Don't worry though, it will not be an atomic bomb. However, it will positively be nuclear. It will give humanity a new, clear vision for the future, individually and collectively. It will give us 20/20 vision. We suspect the current powers that be will attempt to use this natural cosmic event as the ultimate false flag. They may say aliens did it, or it was caused by global warming. or an attack from across the world. This sonic boom of electromagnetic energy may shut down our entire electric grid instantaneously, causing a collapse of our financial, socio-economic, political, and collective cultural existence as we know it. And thus, this event may be used to pave the way for a new order in our world. But this cosmic event is not to be feared. It is a natural process to allow growth within our individual and collective consciousness. The greenish astral rays that this event will create will cover the entire plane of our Earth for a short period of time. Again, it is not to be feared. Governments and authorities will most likely tell us that this green mist caused by this event is a toxin. They will tell us to stay indoors and not go outside into the radiation. Avoid it at all costs. They will say it's harmful radiation. And it will be. For those who have heavy metals in their bodies, i.e. vaccines, iron from meat eating, etc. But for those without harmful chemicals in their bodies, the radiation will radiate and activate dormant DNA, potentially giving you supernatural abilities. Maybe not Superman-like, however, a heavy increase in consciousness and your 5 senses will be expected. And for those of us planning to make the pilgrimage up north to the central realm of our Earth, aka the Garden of Eden, this will be our window of opportunity.
Venus, Jupiter, Uranus, all these, they're not what they've told us they are. We've been told that there's no land to exist on that's occupiable on the North and South poles.
Our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this Earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And it's, I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world. So I'm willing to say to you that there will be a number of expeditions that will follow, I think, year after year, at the bottom of the world, because the government has really become interested.
Well, Admiral Byrd, I can understand, I think everybody can, the interest in the North Pole because it's so near our greatest challenger, Soviet Russia. But why this interest in the bottom of the world? Nobody living down there, is there?
I tell you one reason they're interested. It's by far the most valuable, important place left in the world for science. That's why the scientific groups all over the nation are really interested. But more important than that, it has to do with the future of the nation, those to come after us, or even during your lifetime, because it happens to be an untouched reservoir of natural resources. And, as the world shrinks with an ever-increasing acceleration, far-flung places, once useless like we thought the North Pole was, and no man's land, become very useful. The bottom of the world will be important, not only to us, but to our allies.
I was going to ask you, does it have military importance?
It has some, and as the world shrinks, it will continue to shrink with an ever-increasing acceleration, thus bringing these places closer. And in the future, I can see a time when it will be very, very important strategically. We've found enough coal within 180 miles of the South Pole in a great ridge of mountains. It's not covered with snow, enough to supply the whole world for quite a while. There are now 7 nations very much interested. Russia is interested tremendously. Australia has an expedition down there. The Argentine, the Chile, New Zealand, Britain, and so on.
As a traveler, I've been traveling around for a little over a year now. A lot of people, that's not in their thought process to explore the North Pole or South Pole. But there's more going on there than we've been told.
The South Pole, the center of a plateau, 10,000 feet high. The North Polar Sea is surrounded by continents, slightly frozen. So there's that big difference between the top and bottom of the world. The North really isn't very cold up there on the Arctic Ocean.
So, if I could give some direction to get out of this maze, you'll have to have knowledge, and you're going to have to do the due diligence and the inner work necessary to prevail. For the lack of knowledge, God's people will perish, or the people will perish. Whatever words you want to use. Listen to the words, especially in the English language. It's coded.
One of you's work out how your language works and how it programs your conscious, your subconscious, and your unconscious mind. It's all over.
If you can hear and see between the lines, it's all laid out in front of all of us. It's right in our faces. Look into quantum grammar. This is the grammar, the language that will assist all of us to get out of the hands of the capturing force, the beings that have an intention to capture and harness the soul, basically steal people's soul.
The Declaration of Independence. D means no, Claire means speak, at is location, ION is contract, in means no, D means no, pend means write, ants means contract. You shall not write contract and you shall not speak contract, Benjamin Franklin. The is an adverb making declaration a verb, of is an adverb making independence a verb. Both false and misleading statements and fictitious conveyance of grammar. Henceforth, the Declaration of Independence is being sold at auction as a meaningless document written by the founder of the Continental Congress, a French attorney who was hired by the English Crown to capture the United States of America. Welcome to treason at its first course, Benjamin Franklin. Since I brought this out in 1995, there's been eight major books published on Benjamin Franklin's treason as being bigger than Benedict Arnold. United States Postal Service, folks, not the United States government. The government is the post office. The President of the United States, pre-simulation denture, appoints a Postmaster General who controls all branches of government, CIA, FBI, police, fire, every branch of government, Homeland Security, Department of Interior, Department of Forestry. Everything in the United States is controlled by the post office. The directors, the presidents, kings, the queens are no more than puppets working for the postmaster, because the postmaster controls the treasury, who prints the money, controls the military, and that's how the world runs. On the 22nd of October 1871 was the New World Order. It was set in motion by the post office. The New World Order has been here for 140 years. All courthouses on planet Earth are the same jurisdiction. I don't care if I'm in Wisconsin or I'm in Sydney, Australia. They are controlled by the port authorities, which are controlled by the Department of Transportation, which is controlled by the post office. That's the chain of command. They have a code. No law or fact shall be tried in court. That is their law. That is their oath. Every judge, barrister, lawyer, attorney, worldwide, all countries, all languages swear to this, because for 8,500 years, language has been bastardized. It is adverb-verb illusion. No law, which is a negative condition, and no fact is the only thing that gets tried in court. All words that start with a vowel, A, E, I, O, and U, are followed by two consonants means no contract. A negative condition of state. You're going to say, where do I find that rule? Look up every word in the dictionary and all the synonyms that reflect that word, and you will find a no contract for every single word that starts with a vowel and two consonants. We're showing you that the Bible is written in the Quran, in the Jewish Bible, and all of these different communications worldwide are written in adverb-verb. They've left the words out. Why do they leave the words out? Because they can control you. You are controlled by the post office. Okay, the post office, who's on a $100 bill? American. Benjamin Franklin. Who's the first Postmaster General of the United States? 1775. Benjamin Franklin. In school, my daughter says to the teacher, when are you going to teach the correct sentence structure, communication syntax? Teacher stands up and says, you're suspended. Get out of my class. You get an F for the course.
I just wanted to get back in touch with whoever I'm in touch with in the digital virtual world and do what I can to broadcast what's important to me, what I know is truth. I'm acclimating back in with this. More to come in the future moments, the next moments to come. I'm going through detoxing my entire Facebook list. I'm not going to have very many people on as a friend or this or that. I'm getting way more concentrated with where I put my attention and where I'm investing myself. For those who are receptive to me, who I am, and where I am. If you feel called, reach out, get in touch with me further, and see what's up. Give me some kind of acknowledgement that this actually reached you, and to move forward with it. If you have any questions that you may feel that I could assist with, fire in my way. I'll do my best. I do not intend to meddle in anybody's karma and in their own learning. We're all in a very divine system, working everything out in due time. Wholeness, balanced vibrations to all. Catch you on the flip side.